Hello there, you're watching and listening to another Scoutcast from www.fantasyfootballscout.co.uk, and my name is Mark.
My name's Granville.
My name's John T.
And my name's Andy.
Good evening, gentlemen. How do we find you? You all good?
Yeah, all good.
Excellent, yeah.
Raring to go for another...
Yeah, it was good to get the game week rolling again, wasn't it, after the break? So not all of us had a great one, but we'll talk about that in detail in a minute. I believe, John T, tonight's show, we're going to be talking a lot about a certain Manchester City striker. Is that correct?
Yes, Iheanacho.
No, not Iheanacho.
Oh, sorry, no, the other one. Yeah, definitely.
So we're going to tackle the Aguero situation because we're getting cold feet on that, and a few of us are thinking about getting rid, and you won't be surprised to hear I'm one of them. We're going to talk about Sanchez and Giroud, which is an issue. We're going to talk about how do low-ranked managers stay motivated. I think we've got experts, all four of us, about how to do that. We've all been through that. And then we're going to talk about game weeks 15 to 17, which gives us a bit of a rotation headache. I know there's a question on that as well, John T. Yes. We've also got Rough with the Smooth. That's made a return, hasn't it?
It has indeed. Yeah, we're
going to preview the game week, of course, and there'll be lots of nonsense around that as well. I know that Andy's prepared a lot of notes for this show. You've got lots to talk about on Aguero, haven't you, Andy? Is that right?
Yeah, and maybe even a certain Swede if we can fit it in.
Oh, not him again.
He's there. He's ready for a comeback.
Also, Granville's on his wild card. He's already played his wild card, and we're gonna touch on that just a little bit, John T. We're just gonna spend a few minutes going through Granville's wild card. If you don't know, if you haven't listened to Scoutcast before, Granville likes to pick on people whose wild cards fail, and so yeah, sorry Granville, it might best be your turn. Let's talk about the game weeks then, and let's start with Andy because it was a good one. Top of the pile, Andy.
Yeah, 55. I took an 8-point hit, so 47 total. But yeah, for a week where the average was so low, really happy with that. Got rid of Ibra, Mustafi and Sterling, which I said last week, and brought in Kane, Brunt and Hazard. So Brunt straight away with a clean sheet and bonus. Kane obviously with the 2 goals, which I was loving watching match of the day. And then actually it was the defence as well. Midfield did nothing really, but I had a full house at the back. So Lovren, who's averaged nearly 5 points a game since I brought him in. Brunt, like I just said, Alonso, who, if anyone watched that game and doesn't own him, it won't be long until they do.
I know. I was incredible. I was watching the game and I was like, how far forward was he? It's just ridiculous.
It's almost like, at times it just felt like he was the most forward person. Now, the only downside is he does finish like a defender.
Oh, he's terrible.
Yeah.
He's got no finish. He can't finish and he can't cross. But he's forward so much. He got as many touches in the box as Costa, didn't he?
Someone actually described him as a premium Moreno who actually gets clean sheets.
Yes.
Yeah. So I thought that was perfect.
I think that's your impression of that, Granville. Did you watch the game?
Yeah, I did. And I did watch. I was willing Alonso to score. He had chances. He did do. He doesn't have. He gets for. Do you remember that a couple of years ago when Luis's first stint at Chelsea, when he was getting in the box quite often, and Ivanovic is another one. They were doing that a lot, but
nothing like this.
I've never seen anything like this. No.
I mean, John T, you don't fancy Alonso, do you? Because we all tipped him really early, and you just I'm
new to him. I'm new to him. Is this because of in the last Scout Squad article I mentioned that you finally joined the Alonso party?
Yeah, I edited most of that out though.
Yes, no, I've been mentioning him since he played against Hull back in game week 6, was it 7?
Yeah, and he got 8 or 9.
And he was doing that same thing, and I saw that, and I saw the clean sheet. And I thought, oh my word! And I've just never got around to getting him in, which is really silly because I've been telling people to get him for so long. So I will get him in the next week or two.
It's astonishing. I've never seen a defender play forward so much, and he's also in the box at set pieces.
But it's the clean sheets. But as you said, he doesn't actually finish very well. So he will get the odd goal, obviously, an assist. But those clean sheets are absolutely fantastic. So you've got that excitement that he might score.
I know.
Plus the clean sheet, plus almost like the guarantee of a clean sheet, unless a couple of fixtures. He's going to be tested clean sheet wise for the next 2. But after that, clean.
You've got no qualms in playing. It's not like, would you play Walker or Danny Rose at Man City or whatever? You'll play Alonso every week because you think, well, he's got a chance of getting points in it.
It's also, it could be captaincy material. I mean, I haven't captained for a long time. Who knows?
During a double game week, there is every possibility that could happen because I think you're guaranteed points there, definitely against easy opposition. And he'll play. He hasn't got any competition.
Anyway, back to Andy's team, because let's give him a round of applause for getting Harry Kane in early, but not putting the armband on him, Andy. Let's talk more about that. Did you think about it?
No, I didn't really, because I remember you asked me the question last week if I brought him in, would I think about a captaincy? And I said no for last week, and I'd see how he goes. Like, there's definitely 3 fixtures in the next 5, I think, where he'll probably have it. But just for the first one, I wanted to see. And to be fair, he did get a bit lucky at the end. But as we know, he's on penalties, so he's always going to get that luck. So yeah, there was a few people on Saturday morning trying to convince me to go captain, but I just couldn't take my eyes off Aguero. And yeah, it didn't work out, but I'm still happy. 2 goals, got him in now. Team set for a good few weeks, and it'll definitely be captain material in game week 14, 100%.
And Chris Brunt as well. Nice. If he keeps his place, could be very popular.
Yeah, I was umming and ahhing for a while about that between him and McCauley. Obviously, McCauley's a bit cheaper, nailed. But I just went for the guy that's possibly playing in midfield for a few weeks, and thought it might be a bit more exciting. But yeah, I'm a little bit worried, and it's kind of weird that West Brom now have some attacking options to choose from, and I'm worried about if my guy's going to get rotated.
I can't see him changing the team next week. Because
they did so well. Yeah, I know. Like Apple Bonkers has got Chadley, and he's a bit worried now that he's not going to get straight back in. So we'll have to see. But yeah, Brunt really good. Start.
I think Chadley will play.
I can't see him changing that up. Well, we'll see. So I'll quickly do my game week. 49 points. Okay, I took a hit. I'm quite happy to get a green arrow out of that, considering I took the 4-point hit. And Defoe, my player of the season. Unbelievable, this guy. I was very fortunate because 3 or 4 weeks ago I was looking at him going, I might downgrade him to Austin and get the money. And I put it off because I had other things to do. And ever since then, he's got 3 goals in 3 games. And he's getting assists. What's going on there? Anatoli's come in and suddenly he's changing as a player. And the goal he's playing. He's 35, I think. He's doing fantastic.
Always been a goal scorer though. He just likes having a shot. I mean, I compare it to someone like Janssen, who never has he actually had any shots. He seems to just take the option of just passing it every single time.
Yeah, he's struggling to sell, isn't he?
But Defoe is just like he loves a shot goal wherever he is, outside the box, inside the box. I don't know what's going on with the assists though, because he's not really been much of an assist.
But it's just boys have suddenly turned them into an attack inside. I guess they have to be because they can't defend. So yeah, Defoe, my player of the season so far. For me, my player of the season. When I have my awards, when I do the show and that. Okay, John T, your next 33. Capoue, did you say? He was on the bench for you, was he?
Yeah, on the bench again. Well, it's typical, isn't it? And no, but it was worse because I took a hit to get. So I saw that Lallana wasn't going to play, so I got Firmino in because when Lallana doesn't play, Firmino tends to play a little bit better. But that didn't quite work out. So I got Hazard in as well for Sanchez. So ordinarily that would have been okay because the pair of them got 7. And Sanchez and Lallana got 2 points combined. So ordinarily, that would have been an okay hit. I've got 2 players I want in, 2 players I'm not so sure on. But bingo, Capoue, there he is on my bench. So if I hadn't have done Lallana, Firmino, Capoue would have come in for the absent Lallana. So that's 10 points. Yeah. So I've one word, Capoue.
It's quite ironic, all the fuss about Coutinho and all the kind of, no, is he going to... If he hadn't have played, 46%, a lot of those probably would have had Capoue off the bench, wouldn't they? So
I say saviour, it wasn't a great game week, but I was thankful of Charlie Daniels for getting me a clean sheet and a bonus.
He always does well for you, Charlie Daniels.
I like him. I like having there's something about having a Bournemouth defender. There's something quite nice and secure about it. The odd clean sheet here and there, but they do pick up bonus and they do attack as well. But yeah, so that's it. So, but yeah, and also I was caught out like a lot of people. I was looking at our moderators and contributors league, and there was loads, like really much worse than me, and that's very rare that that's happened this season.
Yeah, they normally set a high bar, don't they?
So yeah, I was caught out, but like a lot of people this week, Lukaku at Swansea, nothing. Aguero, nothing. And then I had the two Liverpool mids, and then Hazard as well. All of that, and even Benteke. All of these players just did nothing, absolutely nothing. So
fixtures looking better for game week 13, though. I think a lot of people do better in that game week. I think
it's just one of those weeks that happens. It's happened a couple of times this season where all of the players you think are going to do well didn't, and you can tell in our scout picks this week. We went for a pretty template side like the one I've just described, and we did terribly. We got absolutely smashed by the community champion, who I have to say equalled the previous highest margin of victory of 32 points. He went all out differentials. Kane, Phillips, This 0 this is, so hats off to him, and that's what shows. This was the absolute week of the differential, definitely.
Yeah. Okay, let's go to Granville because he had the wild card, 31 points. Now, wild card's not all about 1 week though, Granville.
Yeah.
So don't worry about it. I think it'll turn it around. But what were your big errors? Come on.
I guess I couldn't have found a worse week to play a wild card really, because it's kind of the worst week for everybody. What did I do wrong? Where do I start? The first thing I did was, I had to play the wild card, I think. I was forced into it because I had numerous injuries. I had Hollybass and Friend who were both suspended or injured. And I was looking weak. Lallana was out as well. And then there was doubts. I know everyone said they were going to play Costa and Hazard, but they were still flagged. So there was too many doubts, and also Walcott as well. So I decided to play my wild card, and what a wild card it was! Wow. The first thing I did was get rid of Costa and replace him with. I guess I replaced him with Lukaku. The second mistake I made was this is it. I got rid of him because he wasn't playing for Van der Horn, who was playing. And what happens? And Matt comes in after missing 8 games.
The thing is, you can't trust Bob Bradley, can you? He's played a completely
tell me where that came from.
Well, I don't know. You can't read Bob Bradley. He's making 6, 7, 8 changes a game. It's just crazy.
I know. I mean, this is a week when Yaya Toure plays his first game and scores a brace. We've
got to talk about that in a minute, because I know the president of his fan club is amongst us. So
and Darren Fletcher scores as well.
Yeah.
So what else went wrong? I guess that my biggest error, because I picked
it on the bench.
I posted my team that I thought that I was going to go with, and I'd actually got rid of Aguero and replaced it with De Bruyne, and had Kane up front. And I didn't go with it. I bottled out. I blew it. I kept
you posted
Aguero.
it in the morning, did you? And then what was the reaction?
I posted it on the website on the website, and just said, "What do you think?" And there's always negativity, when you lose someone like Aguero. You just get a lot of it. Well, I don't think, I think it's a bad move. And in the end, I thought it probably was a bad move. And it still could have been a bad move. I mean, Aguero can score it any week. But the other thing I could have done, and I was looking at it, was not have Lukaku and have Kane instead. But the trouble is that Everton had Swansea at home, looked, a dead cert to score goals in that game. And obviously they didn't. And that really killed me. And I've had Lukaku. I mean, it's the first time I've had Lukaku this season, and I captained him immediately.
So this is it.
And the thing is about Lukaku, I mean, he's been scoring, goals all season.
You get him, yeah.
As soon as I get him, and this isn't the first time it's happened. This is last season. The last few seasons, I've never had any luck with him. So me and Lukaku are finished. That's it.
So Jonty Granville's just given the community a reason to get rid of Lukaku there straight away.
Yeah.
Well, they can keep him now because I got rid of him.
Oh, have you got rid?
Knee-jerked him straight out.
Have you really? It was a wage transfer, was it? So what have you gone straight to Kane?
Yeah, straight to Kane. But I've lost. The thing is, I would have captained Kane, so that would have been 26 points. Lukaku got 4 points as a captain.
Did you take a hit?
Huge difference. No, because I played my wild card. Oh, but taking a hit to this week
to get Kane.
Yeah. I sold Rose. I downgraded Rose to Jenkinson, which was going to be my move anyway. I was going to play him. I was going to get him in the wild card, Jenkinson, and I thought, I don't know whether Mustafi's going to. I'm not sure whether he's definitely going to play. It would be his first game in quite a long time. And so I didn't get him, which I do regret a bit now, even though he didn't get the clean sheet. But anyway, so I swapped Rose for Jenkinson and
Lukaku after the
straight away. Well, I mean, it's the worst wild card I think I've had in 10 years I've been playing. Anyway, I still like the look of the team. I've got Snodgrass in there because he's got some really good fixtures coming up.
Yeah.
And Walcott, I couldn't part with Walcott in the end because of his fixtures, not because of his fixture against United, but he's playing Bournemouth, and it's just a great run of fixtures. But
he's playing Bournemouth until Melanie drops the baby, and then he's not playing Bournemouth. He'll be playing Dad, won't he? So
we'll see. I've got a strong bench with Van der Horn, and
yeah, you have Carrick.
I even went. Well, I had Carrick as just a mate.
Carrick's nailed now, so you're fine.
Rock solid.
Yeah. Yeah, for his 3 points.
He's not about to see you all right.
John, the one other thing I did wrong was Foster. I swapped Foster for Heaton. Okay, Heaton's been getting the clean sheets and loads of saves.
He broke Heaton now.
He concedes 4 goals.
Unbelievable.
Makes only 2 saves, and I played him instead of Pickford.
You shouldn't be allowed near these players. It's not right. You have to stay away from them. You're ruining it for everybody out there doing this. It's just not. It's unforgivable. Jonty, let's look at Rufford and Smooth. Let's see if we can cheer Granville up with tales from the community. Go on.
We've got some. Well, let's go. No, I'm going to go with the Smooths first.
Oh, go on then. Rub it in for him.
And then we'll move on to the Roughs to make Granville feel better. So we've got Beza here. Simple one. Benteke to Rondos.
No.
There we go. Lovely little sideways move.
For that. That's a quality move.
And Gangdu Lawau, I probably mispronounced him, but I hope he apologises. He got Bellerin and Smith out. They weren't playing to Alonso and Nyam.
Alan Nyam.
Yes, Nyam as well.
4.3.
And
go on.
And this is good. FPL Virgin went a little bit further than Andy. And in fact, he was trying to convince Andy to captain Kane. He got Kane in and captained him. And he claims, I don't know whether Andy can back this up, he claims he spent some time on Saturday morning trying to convince Andy to
Is that right, Andy?
put the armband on him.
Yeah, he was one of the guys I remember, he did say you're not thinking about it.
But it got, I mean, talk about, like myself and Granville have just talked about our game week and the various events that conspired against us. When it goes right, it goes right. When it goes wrong, it goes wrong. FPL Virgin. So he gets Kane in and captains him. He has Gundogan in his side, doesn't start. So guess who comes off the bench? See, that's the kind of thing that happens when your luck's going.
Bit of bench luck with the Capu off the bench when you need it.
So let's cheer ourselves up. A bit of
let's have some tales of misery.
Irish Madrista. I had no idea what he was playing at here, but he took out. He got in the previous week, Giroud and Milner, but then immediately took them out again for another hit for Austin and Coutinho. So obviously Giroud then scored.
They're sound signings though, Austin and Coutinho.
But he had quite a good bench. His bench included Pickford, Kone, Capoue. So he actually got 23 points on his bench. So there's no need for those moves. But so total score including a hit was 21.
And he was in the top 10k at one point.
He was in top 10k at one point. And he's dropped to outside of the 500,000, 500,000. Really, there's some great names today. So Jakarta Charbo, he played his bench boost by accident. So you think, played it by accident. No, he did, because if you look at his bench, there's no way.
How did he play it by accident?
Well, he must have just pressed it and didn't realise and then forgot.
I just pressed it and didn't realise you were on there.
Maybe. But because he only actually had 2 playing players, which was Heaton and Daruni, the other 2 weren't playing; they were suspended. So anyway, he got a grand total of 2 points from that wasted bench. But I do believe that is by accident. No one's going to look at Daruni on their bench and go, "I'm going to have a bit of that."
Pretty rough. Particularly not Karanka.
Xabi Alonso, another bench thing. So we had my friend Daniels, who I played, but so Xabi Alonso bench Daniels, Pickford, and Fletcher. So it's almost like getting a full house there.
Fletcher gets his only goal this year, and he's very unlucky there.
Very unlucky.
Pickford, we don't know how he had in goal. I must admit, I went through that Pickford-Heaton debate in my head over and over and over again, and I just went, well, I didn't fancy either of them, to be honest. Because I had Macaulay, I thought, well, I don't want to have Heaton and Macaulay in the same game against each other. So that's what did it for me. So it's a bit lucky.
That's one of the reasons I went for, actually.
Yeah, I went Heaton because I had Evans, so I just thought mix it up. I just thought whatever happens, Heaton masterclass or Heaton failure, there's going to be points, and there were indeed from Evans.
But that save,
I had Snodgrass, so I thought the same thing. Sorry,
save from Rondon, ridiculous. What's going on? Pickford and Heaton. It seems every week we're talking about some comparisons to Banks. The saves that those 2 are making are just astonishing this year. I think I'm almost as excited watching those 2 players I am some of the strikers and midfielders in the league this year.
It's quite sensational stuff.
Let's talk Aguero then. Come on, let's get on with it.
We had inundated with questions. So there's lots of them here. So I'll just kind of go through some of them. So Espanola asks, how long are people keeping Aguero for? He's talking about a couple more games until the Christmas period. So basically, he's talking about rest and rotation. He's pretty convinced Aguero is going to get the odd game off. We don't know when it's going to be. Chances are it could be an easy game. So that's going to be a nightmare. But then on the flip side, Abreu reminds us that Aguero has 9 goals in 10 starts,
Oh,
three
don't.
in his last 3. What more do you want? Is his question. Well, exactly. And then French Kuna asks, Kane looks essential, but Aguero doesn't, so it looks like an easy straight swap.
I agree with that.
And FPL Virgin, he takes it a bit further actually. So he's talking about the kind of move that Granville was considering in his wildcard. So what player upgrades can you do if you go Aguero-less?
Couldn't you do? Yeah.
Couldn't you do indeed? So yeah. And then various other people are asking about Lukaku. What do you do?
Okay, well let's go to Andy because he's got a dossier prepared. Do you want to get out your filing cabinet there, Andy?
Yeah, no, I remember saying a few weeks ago that we're always looking for excuses to get rid of Aguero for some reason, even though he always scores. And this is probably the first week where I've seriously considered it. Now, Heaton conceding 4 to West Brom has not helped my thinking about getting rid. But I just look at the fixtures. I think for that price, I'd want to captain him a few times. I don't think I'm going to captain him over Christmas, given the fixtures. There's a chance, I think it was game week 15 to 17, there's 3 games in 8 days for City. And the one he's most likely to get rested for, if he's rested, he might not be, is going to be the one that you'd want to captain for, which is Watford at home.
Yeah.
And then I look at other players, like alternatives to him. I'm looking at Ibra, and I know no one else is going to be, but we'll talk about that maybe later. But obviously you've got Costa or Kane if you don't already own them. Like Costa is just on fire right now. And yes, Aguero has scored, I think it's 8 in 9 and a bit games, but he's only just scoring per minute more goal, just a little bit better than Costa and Kane. So he's scoring a goal every 103 minutes. Costa's 105 and Kane's 116. So they're matching him for less money. So you talk about upgrades. For me, it's Aguero and Snodgrass, or Aguero and Matt Phillips, or Ibra or Costa and Sigurdsson. So to me, the second option is hopefully better. Now, you know, he's always scoring goals. So I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts, because I know it's actually talking about doing this and hitting the button is 2 different things.
Yeah, I mean, this is it. Like, no one wants to say to anybody, you should get rid of Aguero.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
That is a hugely risky thing to say. And I've got hands up. If someone said to me, I've got Aguero, should I sell him? I would make the argument and say, well, there is a good argument for it, but I wouldn't say, yeah, absolutely do it, because you know that you're kind of taking a risk. Of course there's a risk. And he's a fantastic player, the best goal scorer in the Premier League, right? But there is a problem. I don't think, I look at City's fixtures, that's key. And you're right about the Watford fixture falling in that hot spot where we could possibly get rested, or may only get an hour. But it's just, City have scored 9 goals in 6 matches. So we think about City, and in the first 5 or 6 weeks, I was talking about City, the title race is over, they're on fire, you've got to have 3 City players. That has shifted suddenly. I don't know what's happened. I don't know whether it's because he's shuffling the team so much. They've 38 different players. I think they've played more different players than any other Premier League side. Maybe that's not helping. 9 goals in 6 matches, 4 of those were in the West Brom game. So in 5 games, the other 5 games, they scored 5 goals. Aguero can't get loads of points if they're not scoring lots of goals, and they're not doing it. And when the fixtures are tough for them, you've got to think, well, there's no sign that is going to be an upturn. Plus, there's the risk of rotation. Plus, there's the 3 million extra I can spend elsewhere in my team if I get Kane or Costa. There's a lot of factors against it. But everyone's going to be hesitant saying, yeah, get rid, definitely get rid, I think. I mean, that includes us, not surprisingly.
Did you say he's made 38 different players?
I think it's 38 players they've used this season, yeah. 38 changes.
In all competitions?
Yeah,
right.
38 changes.
Oh, 38 changes. Oh, yeah, that's different. Okay.
Yeah,
because you only have a 25-man...
No. It's just 38 changes they've made overall. And it's he's shuffling the lineup all the time, isn't he? And Touré's now a factor. And I don't know whether that is not helping them, you know, and not having a consistent team. I guess they can't with Champions League. And they had a really tough group, and look like they're going to get out of that, and they'll be fine. And maybe it'll get better, and maybe we'll play strongest team every week over Christmas. But he's got so many options, and we can't second guess Pep. He's so difficult, isn't he, to really guess what he's going to do. We haven't got any experience of him in the Premier League. This is it. That's all we got.
The thing is, I think it's easy to say that Ibrahimovic and Costa are almost keeping up with him, but they're not actually. They're not.
Ibra isn't.
Ibra isn't. But
Neither of them. No, I mean, even when I look at attempts in the box, Aguero is quite a bit ahead of all of them. Every single player, he just looks a little bit more dangerous. Costa has a habit of being in the right place at the right time, hence the goal at the weekend. I don't see Costa scoring 2 goals a game in any game, really.
He's not explosive.
He has scored braces, but I think with Aguero, there's a hat trick somewhere. Well, he's already had a hat trick.
But that's good. But if he's 2 million more as well, though, if he's explosive, you want to captain him. Which fixture do you captain him in versus the rest? That's the problem for me.
The thing is, I don't think you can go without. If you don't go with Aguero, then you need to have another City player, in my opinion.
But
I don't agree with that at all.
No, I don't agree with that.
I think this is a bit like the Arsenal cover we were chatting about last week. If De Bruyne is a good pick for 10.8 million, he's a good pick. He's not a good pick just because you don't have Aguero for me. And if the fixtures aren't good for Aguero, then they're not good for him either. Yeah. He's probably less likely to be rotated, which is great. But I don't think you need to. I'm not interested in covering City. I want Aguero or I don't. I don't necessarily mind about De Bruyne.
Yeah, and I look at it and think, well, if I'm playing only 4 in midfield, I've got Firmino, Coutinho, Hazard, and Walcott. And okay, Walcott would be the one you think will get rid of that, but it's going to cost three and a bit million to upgrade him to. But I can't do it. And also, Walcott at 7.5 to me is still value. Once he's over this possible absence, then he's going to be a decent player for me, I think. And so,
all City have to do is have a game where they score, a hatful of goals, and then you'll be back on them.
But this is the thing. This is another thing as well, and I've been guilty of this in the past. When we talk about getting rid of Aguero, we almost talk about it as if that's it. Once you got rid of him, you can never get him back. Well, like if I get rid for Ibra and Sigurdsson, and that's 2 moves, I can get him back in 2 moves. As long as you don't distribute the funds throughout your defence and stuff, where you make it like 3 or 4 moves to get him back, it's not the end of the world. And then he has Chelsea at home, which you're not expecting many goals from. So, I don't know. Getting rid against Burnley, it's a tough one. But they do play Champions League tomorrow, and then they're playing in the early game on Saturday. So, is there going to be changes on Saturday?
And Burnley's not an easy place to go. They're a different
team.
Yeah. Johnson, you're very quiet on this, so come on, in you come.
Well, that's the thing. Aguero, when Bramble alluded to it, minutes per goal attempt in the box is 22. That's far above any of the others. Ibrahimovic, Costa, Firmino, Walcott, Lukaku, all of them. It's way above them. There's no doubting that he will get goals. The thing is about that extra 2 million. I think the thing about De Bruyne is that when you're watching on Match of the Day or you're watching the match at home or down the pub and you're seeing City going full on City and they're looking like 6-7 goal type City, which they can do, and we know they've done because we've seen them do that kind of thing, and you're watching that game without any City players, and I know coverage is not a good thing, but with De Bruyne, say if Aguero does do one of his 3, 4, 5 goal games, De Bruyne is going to rack up the points with that. So you've got that covered. But I also think De Bruyne has got such a spread of point potential with assists, goals and bonus. I think he's a great player. So for me, I would be looking potentially at getting rid of Aguero by having De Bruyne. But that's not to simply get the coverage. That's simply because I think De Bruyne is a really good player. And there's some teams like Arsenal, like Chelsea, like Liverpool and Man City that can go absolutely crazy. And we've all seen those games where they've scored 4, 5, 6 goals. And we know they can do that. And it's not just the coverage of the fact that Aguero's got a big ownership. It's just we know that these are really great players. And you can see all the time, every time this is discussed, everyone always says, why are you going to get rid of Aguero? Look at, they reel off those stats like that. But it's almost like if we all got rid of Aguero, we'd have to do it together. It'd be like we'd have to hold hands. Like in Toy Story 3, when they're going down into the furnace.
No, I do.
And they all look at each other crying, holding his hand, saying, "What are we doing?
Oh yeah.
What are we doing?"
It's an FPL suicide pact.
Yeah.
That's what it
is.
Yeah,
and we've got to hold our hands crying at each other as we get rid of Aguero, and that's how we're going to do it.
It absolutely does feel like that. But I look at the fixtures and go, well, where are these 4 or 5 goals going to come? They're not going to get 4 or 5 against Chelsea. Leicester away, one of the best home defences in the league. I know they're not in form this season, but then City can't score 4 or 5 at Leicester, surely. Watford at home, that's rotation City, as we're going to talk about later. Arsenal at home. Okay, well, Aguero could get a hat-trick against Arsenal, but are you going to captain him? Probably not in that game. There's probably better options that night. Spurs are at home. If you've got Kane, are at home to Burnley.
So I'm tempted to get rid of Aguero, but not this week. And one of the reasons
I agree. Yeah.
And one of the reasons I don't want to get, because I feel it would just be for the sake of it this week, because the players I want to replace him are Kane and Costa, and they faced each other, and then Costa goes to Man City. Whereas Kane is a player I definitely want in game week 14. And in fact, I look at that fixture that he has got in game week 14, and I want to captain Kane. And I'm looking at Aguero, and there's no way I'm going to keep Aguero over captaining Kane. So for me, game week 14, depending on what else is happening with my team and injuries and things like that, I would definitely be looking just as a straight Aguero out for Kane.
Yeah, captain. No, spot on. But also, do we not think that if Aguero blanks at Burnley, he's going to be losing ownership?
Well, yeah, but that's fine for me because I'll be getting rid of him.
Yeah, no, exactly. But I'm saying that if you're thinking of keeping Aguero, I think if he blanks at Burnley, you're going to have to take a price drop next week, probably, I would say, maybe just one. And then he's got to go against Chelsea in game week 14. If he blanks in that one, and given that Chelsea haven't conceded a goal in 6 matches, he could, it's going to be a massive slide of ownership then, because if Kane scores in game week 14 against Swansea at home and Aguero blanks for the third game week in a row, massive sales. And then suddenly you're going to start losing money. Kane's rocketing up. Could be a 0.2, 0.3 swing.
All right.
It's difficult.
All right, let's get to the bones of it, Mark. Right, are you going to get rid of Aguero this week?
No, I'm getting rid of Aguero in game week 14, like John T has alluded to. I'm doing it. I'm swapping to Kane, and I'm going to get probably going to get Kane in and Danny Rose or Alderweireld ideally if he's fit, because I just think the points I can get from Kane and Toby Alderweireld are going to make the difference, and I just don't see Aguero getting a hatful of goals in the 4 fixtures that I'll have Kane. So that's what I'm going to do. I think
you made some right decisions already this season. See if you.
Well, yeah, and
it sounds to me that I might have a differential on my hands.
Yeah, you might have. But the thing is, I said at the start of the season, I've been saying in the preambles, I've got to be a bit more gutsy, and it's staring me in the face. This is a chance to do just that. And if I don't follow that policy, I'm being a bit of a hypocrite, aren't I? And I got rid of Aguero last season. It was a disaster for me. So what have I got to do? I think I've got to do it. I think it's a part of the fun of playing the game, isn't it? So I think I've got to do it. John T, and you're going to do it as well. Are we all going to hold hands in and do this?
Yeah, we're going to hold hands. We're going to look tearfully at each other into the furnace and hope the claw comes down, driven by Harry Kane to save us.
I'm genuinely considering getting rid this week for Ibra and Sigurdsson, for Allen and Aguero out, and I'm so tempted now.
If nothing else, it'll make the podcast very interesting.
Yeah, we'll frying next week.
So there we go. I think I think that's decided. Come back next week, and I think that at least 2 of us will be getting rid, which it scares me just to even talk about that.
I think Kane in game week 14 just looks like the obvious captain there, but also if you can keep Aguero and have Kane and be happy with your team, then do it. This isn't really. It's like we did it last week as well. Various players. This is not me or you saying Aguero is a bad player by any stretch of the imagination. It's just saying he costs a lot, and there's as we know, this season is defined, but there's so many good options, and they're cheaper.
But also there is going to be periods of play in the season, periods of game weeks where the likes of Costa, Ibra, Lukaku are going to outscore Aguero, right? And so your job as a fantasy manager is to look at where those periods could be, and I look at it and go, there's a period coming up, so why not go for it? I mean, there is an element of risk involved, but you wouldn't be doing it without logic behind it. And it's not logic about saying that Aguero is a bad player. It's logic that suggests that Kane should be in profit.
Well, you and I come at it from very different positions there, because you're doing very well and you could get into the top 10,000 and push for those higher places. I'm not. So for me, it's not really a risk. I don't really care because I can just I'm in that position there. And I was mentioning on site, I was saying, for me, I don't have a problem with the fear factor of getting rid of Aguero. But if I was in the top 10,000, I would have a real problem getting rid of Aguero, I think.
I know what you're saying, but I just think this is a window that's staring us in the face where one player looks strong. And I think, for me, the way I want to play the game this season, I've got to do it, because I just think as well, if you're doing really well, if you're top of your mini league, and there'll be managers like John T who can take the risk on Kane without without that fear, they've got an advantage over you. You're letting them have that advantage because you're going, well, I've got to sit on Aguero because I'm doing well. And so Kane's bad news for people like me and anyone else doing well, because they're looking at it going, well, I don't really want to take a risk because I'm doing well. So it opens a door for people who are trading behind you. So for me, I want to protect myself against that and go, well, there is a risk, but maybe Aguero only get 10 more points than Kane, and it would be worth the risk because the upside is bigger. So I don't know. That's what I'm thinking.
It'd be really ballsy though, Mark. I mean, like Aguero's away to Burnley. I don't think that's a good fixture at all. It's the early fixture, and Harry Kane's at Stamford Bridge, where he
loves a derby, doesn't he?
Famously scored that hat trick.
Yeah, and he loves a derby match. No, he didn't get the hat trick at Stamford Bridge, but he got it against Chelsea, and so he's done it before against them. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. I think hold him for this week.
I think going to that point that Granville made is I don't have any problem with Kane this week as an asset. It's just because Chelsea are completely different defensive sides. I don't fancy anyone to score against them at the moment. But
so
yes, Kane could.
That includes Aguero game week 14 then, doesn't it?
Exactly. So good time to get rid of Aguero if you were so minded.
Okay, we've done that. Yeah. We'll come back to it next week, I'm sure. So let's move on. Is it Giroud Sanchez, Jonty?
Yeah, well, this is it. Yeah, so Shirtless asked, Wenger has talked recently of resting Sanchez. So this week he said, he hinted that very strongly that there's going to be rotation of Sanchez over Christmas. Is he too risky now? And then Bromhead asks, is it time to welcome back Giroud into our squads? So here's the reminder, Giroud, 3 goals in 3. I say starts. I don't mean starts. I mean 3 very limited appearances off
20
the bench.
minutes. He has kind of backtracked today about Sanchez. He's gone, well, I want to give everybody a winter break. He's kind of gone back on what he said earlier. I don't know about this. I mean, I think Sanchez, will he play every single game over Christmas? There's got to be a doubt about any player, isn't there? So I've just backtracked in a way. But so it's tricky, isn't it?
Do you think? I think Wenger's actually rubbish at rotation. I can't remember him ever getting it right, and he often doesn't. Particularly Sanchez. I don't think he hasn't. Last season, when we thought he was going to get a rest, he didn't. So I don't think he doesn't rest players like that. Not very often.
No, I think he'll rest Sanchez.
He'll rest Walcott. He'll rest Ramsey and Cazorla, but I don't think he'll rest Sanchez because he's got no one like him.
No, I mean, the thing is, if he doesn't win a game and he's put Sanchez on the bench, he'll get criticised by supporters and press. Whereas if he does it with Walcott or maybe even Ozil, he's got players who can come in and replace them. Sanchez, he hasn't got the equivalent. He's their best player, and so I think he's very, very wary about it. So I don't see him being rotated much. I think there could be one game maybe where he gets rested, but it's tough. Andy, you got a view on this?
Yeah, I think you nailed it. I think I've got the quote here and I've read it a few times, and he may get rested for one game, just like every other Premier League player over Christmas. Really, I don't see him missing 2 or 3 games. Like, he's too important to that team.
No.
I do think. I've said this last week, so I don't know. I do think Giroud's got to get a start soon. I remember saying when we scored at the weekend that the problem now was that Giroud's going to come on and he'll cause us problems because Walcott and Sanchez did nothing at the weekend.
No.
Nothing at all.
No.
So yeah, I think 3 and 3, he's pushing for a start. Wenger's almost said that he's in both plans. He'll be up front and either Sanchez will be up front or he'll be on the flank. So he's made it sound like he's going to start. I don't know if I'd actually bring him in because he's always got that worry that he's just going to come on as a sub, but I think we're close to getting a Giroud start.
Yeah, I mean, this is it. Giroud has got to get a couple of starts up front, hasn't he? He's got to over Christmas, and that's it. So we won't see Sanchez out of the team, but we will see him move to the flank. And then you've got to look at it and go, is 11-3, is that what you want to be spending on Sanchez out on the flank when you can get Coutinho, Firmino, Hazard for cheaper, or even Walcott or Ozil for cheaper? So, Jonty, your views on this one?
Well, I mean, I printed out the stats from the Manchester United game just to highlight Walcott and Sanchez. So that's what you're looking at here. So Walcott, nothing, 0 for everything. You've got 4 penalty box touches, so bless him there. So I don't know whether impending baby is on his mind or what, but literally nothing, not even an attempt. Sanchez at least made some attempts with none on target. So I think Sanchez will truck along there, and he has got 3 great fixtures. Obviously, if you can keep Sanchez and get all the other players that you want, then do so. I think Walcott, to me, smacks of coverage, definitely.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But the thing is, Walcott,
I think you get what you pay for.
I got him for 7.5, and I still don't think there's any player in that bracket, Lallana included, who can offer what Walcott can offer.
I think Walcott's got the very, very strong potential to score well in the next 3 games, but I think there's so many. All the players we've mentioned. I think there's so many others. There's going to be other players we're going to mention as well that you've got to compare Walcott to now. And I do like the idea of Giroud, actually. Even if he comes on, he keeps scoring. And he's got these 3 great fixtures. He's going to get 20 minutes in each of them, at least. I think if you're risky, good move.
The thing with Arsenal is they actually have, after these 3 fixtures, it's Everton and Man City away, but then they've got 6 really good fixtures again. So their actual next 12 games are all pretty decent compared to others. So I've actually got my eye on Sanchez from Boxing Day onwards. It just depends how Hazard and stuff's doing, but until then, I think I'll just give it a miss and see how Arsenal play.
I've got to admit, I haven't been tempted at all by Sanchez this whole season. Maybe that's why I'm doing so badly, but I just think it's just slightly out of reach in terms of the price. And you've got the Liverpool midfielders and Hazard all turning it on at the minute. I just don't. I think I'm quite happy sitting on Walcott, and if he's just coverage, then so be it. But at 7.5, I got him for. Like Mark. I can't really get rid of him. I can't really justify getting rid of him because there's only like Sigurdsson and Mata.
This is it. Yeah. There's Siggy coming up, who is an option, and that is very tempting. But.
I mean, with Sanchez as well, for that price as well, I know he's looking at captaincy and price, but for that price, you really want a kind of Hazard type. Hazard's at home, right, I can captain him. Kane has got a good fixture, right, I can captain him. But Sanchez, you're not quite sure. There's been, I since I got Sanchez in, I had 1 great week from him, but the others have been pretty poor, really. And for that price, it didn't warrant me keeping him. Put it that way. I didn't have any fear when I got rid of Sanchez last week for Hazard.
Yeah, and the thing is, the Liverpool mids, you got Firmino and Coutinho. Arguably, they're stronger captain candidates because they're doing it more consistently.
We'll come to our captain decision for this week, but I'm at the moment, I'm only really looking at Firmino or Coutinho. It's a question of which one of them, really.
Okay. So, have you gone without an Arsenal player then against the Bournemouth, right?
Yeah, so I'm going to go without an Arsenal player. But that's the thing. That's what we talked about it last week. Sacrifices have got to be made. So
we can't have them all.
And also we'll come to what keeps us motivated shortly.
This is it. Let's go on to that now.
Yeah, well, getting Sanchez in doesn't motivate me, so I'm not going to do it. But I don't. First of all, Mark, I need to say, am I allowed to say some of the words that Christina has put in these questions?
Yeah, they're fine. They're not.
There we go. Okay. So Christina sums it up. At what stage do you have to say to yourself, "Bugger this! The season is going tits up. Time to have some fun."
Outrageous.
I've got to admit, I've said it about 3 times already this season, and I said it again on Saturday. And then come Sunday morning, I calm down a bit and think, what else have I got today?
It's a tricky one, isn't it? I mean, it depends how bad it's going, doesn't it? I mean, what do they mean? Outside the top million, outside the 2?
I think what it is, I think Irish Madrista then asked this question, which I think nails it really. For those giving up on hitting a decent overall rank, what's a good way to look at the rest of the season? He suggests aim for monthly prizes, also other ways. But now that's what it is, and this is the mindset. So I've been playing this, for 9 seasons now, and I've always been trying to go to win my mini-leagues, win money there, and get a good overall rank. So I've been blessed with a very good overall rank every season. But this season I'm not. I've never been this low at this stage. Yes, I could go up. So I could spend the next 25 or whatever game weeks trying to get a better overall rank. Or I could seize this opportunity that I've got, and we're talking about motivation, and to try something different. And that's the option I'm going to go for. Because
I actually think you've nailed it.
And I think that's what you need to do with your motivation. So, because there's something I've mentioned on the site before, I'm having similar feelings, despite my low rank, as I had 2 seasons ago when I was in the top 5,000 from game week 8 onwards.
In what way?
For 30 game weeks, I didn't move. I moved 1,000 up, couple of 1,000 down, 1,000 back up, everything I did. And because you're at that stage as well, you're kind of locked into those players that are performing well. You don't take those risks.
Yeah.
So every week, you're not. This is probably where the Dullard thing started, because every week you're not doing it. And it's successful in terms of winning those mini leagues. But if you're in a position like I'm in now, where your sub-million rank, my motivation now isn't the same as it was then. I can't have, because if I spend the next 25 games going, oh, I'm going to try and get higher overall rank and I'm going to play it cautious, I'm going to have the same feeling that I had, but for completely different rank reasons.
Yeah, I mean, I think
so you've got to mix it up. And this is a pass for me. I can be a maverick.
If you are doing badly, it gives you the opportunity to try something out. I don't know. I'll play 4 at the back every week. I'm going to invest in defence really heavily, or I'm going to get a few midfield differentials and take some hits every week. There's all kinds of things you can do, and I think that is what I would use this season to do. In that you have to just go, I've got to abandon what I would normally do, and I know logically this isn't going to improve my rank. It could go disastrously on, but say what? Because you've got next season and you've got your previous seasons, and say, well, I'm not a bad.
And I can get the players I want to get in and take a few risks.
Yeah.
And one of the other things I've done, I'm just going to give this a bit of a plug, is that in previous seasons, some community members who've got similarly bad ranks have set up a millionaire league. So this is for those with a million plus rank at a certain point of the season. Anyone can join afterwards as long as they've got, going into game week 13, a rank of a million or plus. And then so you've got that community there of similarly ranked managers, and it would just be interesting to see how far they go. And in previous seasons, there's been some managers there have got into the top 10,000.
I remember this. It's really good. Really.
And it's always quite interesting. So what I'll do every now and again, I'll try and do a community article or a hot topic with some research in it, have a look at the top 5, top 10, and to see how many hits they've taken since, to see whether taking hits every now and again or mega hits is going to pay off, or whether patience actually proves. And I think that will help managers at the end of the season to think, well, okay, I've got that bad rank. So anyone, I know I've noticed that Granville's already joined.
Well, I was going to come to you next, Granville.
I'm almost like a permanent member of that.
Yeah, I was going to say, so if anyone knows how to react in this situation, you do. Come on, Granville, tell us. What do they do to stay motivated?
Well, I don't know. I mean, my motivation over the years has been like my rivalry with you. But the last 2 years, I mean, this year, it's I'll use that word again, buggered, because you've run away from all of us. None of us are going to catch you, I don't think, this season. I think you've already flown. So that motivation is lost. I'm never really that motivated by rank. I don't know. I like to try things, but this season, I don't know. It's been weird. I mean that wild card tippy. I mean, I went through a quite template team, really, in the end, and it didn't work out. So what do I do now? I've made my move already this week, and I'm probably just gonna keep Aguero just for the sake of having something different to everyone else who's getting rid of him. And I could be laughing, who knows? But I think the millionaire league is a really good idea, and actually it will give me motivation to do something else. Plus, I'm playing other games as well, so it's not all about FPL.
No, it's fair enough. I just think trying different things. And the millionaire thing, and then there's cups. There's a cup starting game week 18. Our cup is underway. We'll talk about that later as well. But
is that the one I didn't qualify for?
Yeah, none of them all out. But we've got this community low on FFS where we've all had bad seasons, and trying something out and going, okay, from this point on, I'm going to try this, and I'm going to report back how I'm doing, and we'll all be there to go pay an interest in it. And I think that would be an approach as well. Yeah. Put it out there and say, I'm having a miserable season, but from now on, this is the policy I'm going to follow. Well, I'll take this tactic.
I've already stated my policy that I'm not having a Lukaku in my team.
Not a bad
probably one. ever again. I've just decided that that's it for him.
Andy, any tips on this? I mean, have you ever thought, I'm giving up, that's it, it's all over?
No, I don't think so. Like, I'm not too bothered about rank either. I'll always look to my mini league. So, like, for now, it's way too early to be giving up on anything. Like, we're a third of the way through. It's ages to go yet, and we've got probably one of the best parts of the season to go when there's matches all the time over Christmas. But yeah, I'll always look towards my mini league. So even if I'm doing well and I've won my mini leagues, then I'll start taking hits for whoever. Like, not bothered about rank. And towards the end of the season, I'll start looking at their teams to get differentials against them, not necessarily against the rest of the pack. But I don't tend to play too different, I don't think, whether I'm doing bad or doing well, to be honest. But then again, since I've been coming on here, I haven't been doing well, so I don't know if that would change. I'd be a bit more of a dullard. But I don't think I'd change that much. I think you just got to keep going, and I wouldn't go too different too early. necessarily. I don't know. I don't know if like now, for example, is the right time to be getting rid of Aguero or something like that. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I just like to keep going, and I like to keep going until it's definitely over. Once my final mini league is lost, that's it then.
Yeah, I think we're all in mini league. No matter how badly I'm doing, I'm always in a mini league somewhere where I'm doing okay in that.
Yeah.
So if you're in enough leagues, that helps as well. Don't be in mini leagues where everyone's brilliant, like the Mods and Contributors League, where when you have a bad season, John T. I had one a couple of seasons ago. I was doing badly. I think I was third or fourth from bottom. You're having it this year. Granville had it last year. That's what can be a bit demoralising when you're only in that one mini league and everyone's pretty strong. It's tough, but I don't know. Lots of ideas there. We're all here. One of us always has a bad season. This year it's John T. Last year Granville. Year before me. So it happens. Get through it and try something different. I think that's the message. Let's talk about one of John T.'s favourite subjects. Let's talk about Gylfi Sigurdsson, shall we?
Yeah, well, let's talk about motivation. So one of the other things that motivates me is I keep recommending players like Alonso or Gylfi Sigurdsson, and I never get them in. and eventually I'll get them in. So I'm just thinking, well, this is one of the things I'm going to do. I'm just going to get them in, whether it takes a hit or two, doesn't matter. It's I'll get them in because I've been promoting them, so it's time I got them. So exactly. So Brian asks about Sigurdsson. Basically he's had him from the start of the season.
Has he really?
Yeah, great player. He says scores and creates, and he does. He keeps racking up those little points, 5-6 points every game week or so. He's on most set pieces for a poor team. He says, "What's not to love?"
And let's look at these fixtures, right? Let's look at these fixtures. Palace at home, Tottenham away, which sounds tough, but it's his former club. Point to prove. Normally plays well against them. Sunderland at home, West Brom away, Middlesbrough away, West Ham at home, Bournemouth at home, Palace away. Brilliant one. Absolutely outstanding run of fixtures, isn't it?
Yeah, and he's cheap. He was actually, before his goal at the weekend, he was 0.1% about to go down. And that goal pulled him back from the brink. So he's not actually going to go up anytime soon because he's got to go all the way back to zero and then all the way back up again. So yeah, he might get a rise by Friday, but I'll have got him in by then. But something else I mentioned, Harvard asks, is Sigurdsson's poor, I put poor in sneer marks, recent home form, accidental or usual? So I'm not quite sure what he's referring to. It's pretty much whatever the side, good side, bad side, home or away. He's been racking up, say, 8 points here, 9 points away to Arsenal, 9 points away to Everton, 5 at home to Manchester United, 8 at home to Chelsea. I mean, this is just such a steady scorer. So yeah, I can't see. But I know Andy mentioned about Sigurdsson, and you can't ignore, obviously, other players. You can't, even someone with me that has Sigurdsson posters on their walls and Sigurdsson T-shirt, you can't ignore other players from that kind of price range as well. And Andy mentioned that's how you've got to compare him, really. So, and yeah, perhaps for others, they'll be better for that options. I don't know if Andy has any in mind.
Well, let's go to Granville next, because I want to ask him. He's done his wild card, and Sigurdsson's surely a player you've got to look at as someone to help you catch up, isn't he?
Well, the player that I could swap him with would be Walcott, but the trouble is that Walcott, well, Arsenal certainly have 3 good fixtures coming up: Bournemouth, West Ham, Stoke, and so is that any less attractive than Swansea playing Palace and Spurs and Sunderland? It's about even, really. It just depends on Walcott. But, I mean, if Walcott, for instance, I don't know, he quite often gets cropped. Someone will get cropped in my team because, I mean, I've already had 7 injuries. So at some point, someone will get cropped and then I'll in my midfield and then I will have a chance. But at the minute, I can't really see any real route.
Okay, fair enough. Not considering it. Andy, over to you then. I mean, Jonty's talked you up and set you up for this. Are you going to look in?
I think Sigurdsson will probably be the one I go for. Someone did point out earlier that in the next 5, like you said, they got 3 away fixtures, which are Spurs, which could be tough, and West Brom and Middlesbrough, who West Brom we know can be tight at home, and Middlesbrough have been tight at home. So not necessarily the best fixtures, but I think overall the next kind of 7 or 8, I'm going to get him in. It's good. But the other ones I've looked at are Pedro. So I suppose there's always a worry that Willian's going to come back, but I don't think he was even on the bench at the weekend, so I don't know what's going on there. I don't know if he's injured. But he looks really good in that front 3. And then if you wanted a Man United player for their good fixtures and you didn't want to go for Ibra, there's also Mata, who looks fairly stuck in that team now. I think Mourinho's finally got kind of a midfield that's working pretty well. And he always seems to pop up with a goal at Mata. He's got a really good record for us. So, yeah, those are the two I look at as well, Pedro and Mata, but I'll probably go Sigurdsson, I think, because he's just on everything.
Yeah, no, I'm looking at it. I'm wondering. I mean, it would be good if we knew that Walcott was going to be out of the weekend because of the baby situation. And then if I knew that, I think I'd go Sigurdsson straight away. I think that would be my transfer this week because home to Palace, I think Palace are in terrible form. And then in Swansea, every time they score, Sigurdsson's normally got something to do with it. So, and I'll take him for Tottenham away. I think that's all right. So, yeah, it's got to be a consideration. This is, again, one of those windows. It's like Kane, where you look at the fixtures and go, I could regret it if I don't do it now, because I look back in 5 or 6 game weeks' time and Sigurdsson's rolled in 4 or 5 goals. And he did it last season, didn't he? Do you remember, Jonty? You will remember this. He had a run of good fixtures. He absolutely nailed it.
Yeah, I mean, that was when it was around January, February time. And I remember I got in about then, just in time for that. And yeah, he got me points every week, every single week he got me points, whether it be 10, 11 or 5. You are happy with him every week. It's great.
Yeah. Okay, let's look at game week 15-17 rotation. Who asked about this then, Jonty?
Right, yes. So Gideon asks, how severe do we expect rotation to be in game week 15-17? He reminds us that it's effectively 3 game weeks in 1 week, 1 7-day period. You've got Saturday, Sunday, boom, game week 16 follows Tuesday, Wednesday, and then over to game week 17, Saturday, Sunday. So I've always been looking at game week 15 and thinking, wow, there's some great fixtures for Swansea or Chelsea. And I forgot to actually look at the dates. So well reminded, Gideon, because that is true. There should be. So what you do is have a look at some of the teams that are playing, and then you've got to think about who is going to be rotated. So Chelsea are the top team in terms of our season ticker for the period of 15, 16, 17. They've got West Brom at home, Sunderland away, and Crystal Palace away. Crystal Palace away, as we note, they like to give away goals. So will any of them be rested? I personally can't see Costa or Hazard getting rested. I think the worst thing that will happen is that one of them will come off after 60 minutes in one of those matches.
Yeah, and the thing is, for Chelsea, they haven't had Champions League football this year, so they're
not drained. They're not coming into that period of matches knackered like Leicester are, like Spurs are, like. I mean, even so, some of the even the Europa League sides like Southampton and Manchester United, they've had to rotate in Europa League, but there's still it's that added knackeredness that Chelsea is simply going to have. Swansea as well. Now, Swansea, Bob Bradley, 8 changes he made at the weekend, and that wasn't even a busy time for Swansea. So during this busy time, who knows what he's going to do? He's going to hold 11's going to go.
But if you look at it,
Sigurdsson's going to be safe.
There are players who are immune to rotation.
Yeah.
But there are players who are. I mean, I look at Lukaku, for example, and go, well, there's no way that Koeman can not play Lukaku. Yeah,
and that's the thing. What it is looking down at some of the sides that have maybe 1 good fixture and 2 bad ones. So then you start looking at Arsenal and you look at Stoke at home, great fixture. Everton away, could be tricky. And then Man City away, very tricky. So he's going to want Sanchez to play definitely the Man City game. I would say definitely the Everton game. So if you're going to rest Sanchez, Stoke at home, game week 15, that would be the sensible time to do it. Yeah, and as you said, Lukaku at Everton as well. But then you look at Man City, and this is going back to the Aguero again. Leicester away, Watford at home, Arsenal at home. So which one is Aguero going to get a rest in if he's going to get a... Well, it's going to be Watford at home. Nightmare scenario for those that captain him there. Liverpool... Well, once again, Liverpool, I think, could be the same as Chelsea, but it wouldn't surprise me to see one of Coutinho or Firmino, possibly Coutinho, missing a game or certainly not starting one of the following: West Ham at home, Middlesbrough away, and then Everton at home. So you would Everton away. So you would think he'd play Everton.
Everton away, he'll want his full strength team for the
Middlesbrough away, West Ham at home. One of them I could possibly see Coutinho rested.
So you say that, and I know it's 3 games in a week, but Klopp hasn't rotated his team at all this season, and he had a chance actually at the weekend, and actually I think he made a mistake not rotating his team at all. He had 2 players there, Coutinho, who was a little bit of a doubt, and Firmino, who had travelled miles, and Mane, and he played them all, and he had Sturridge waiting there on the bench, sitting there on the bench. So I'm not so sure that Klopp is a kind of manager who likes to utilise his squad.
Well, the thing is, he has rested Coutinho once before, didn't he?
Or
he
has actually, yeah. Or whether he's even got the options, because who else has he got on the bench?
Well, while Lallana's in,
Wijnaldum, probably.
If Lallana's fit, he can use Wijnaldum to rotate one or two of them. He can play Wijnaldum further forward, possibly. But I don't know. I mean, looking at those fixtures of Liverpool, it's the West Ham game, possibly. I mean, they're going to need Coutinho and Firmino at Middlesbrough. They're going to be a tough team to break down midweek, I think. So. Yeah. And he's going to want them for the Everton game. So maybe it's West Ham at home that they might possibly get rested in. I don't see it because they haven't had Europe, though. And this is what Jonty said. They've not been flogged up to this point. So you've got to think that he could do it. Yeah. So,
except for this weekend where I think he made a mistake. But yeah, the West Ham game would be the game where you would expect maybe a change, but I think the change will come later in the game. I think he's going to start with those players and take them off.
Yeah, because we know the way Liverpool play is they go flat out for an hour, then they start to tire. So he can do that. He can go right, play an hour, we'll press. Then when the legs get tired, then I'll make the changes. But he needs Lallana fit. He really does, because that really limits what he can do otherwise with Shan and Wijnaldum as well. So, but Sturridge, I don't know. He doesn't seem to fancy him, does he? So, Andy, any views on this? Are you worried about any of your team?
Not particularly worried. I think every player is going to be in this kind of a very similar position. So, don't want to start second guessing my team to then bring someone in that's possibly also going to get rotated. But the other thing is, like you said, like Chelsea and Liverpool haven't had Europe, so I don't see why they rest them for essentially what is a midweek Champions League game. It's the same kind of thing. They have a 4-day rest in between. And then after that, there's quite a bit of a break to the next one, like a normal break, and then a normal break again. Because sometimes you get the games where it's on Boxing Day and the 28th or 29th, where you don't have that this year.
Yeah.
The really close games is like New Year's Eve and then the 2nd of January or 2 or 3 days break there. So I think most of them will be pretty safe. We'll probably see some rotation, but I wouldn't want to start second guessing my team just for one fixture, I don't think.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that's fair. But we're going to talk about this more in the next couple of game weeks as we get nearer to that. It's an interesting scenario that he's going to. I think one thing you should have a bench. Make sure you've got a bench for game week 16 because, Capu and probably a couple of others.
Jordi Amat.
Yeah, Jordi Amat, ideal. Because, if you go into that with two or a couple of players who just aren't playing at all, then you could get found out. So that's the first thing to do, and then we'll look at it closer to the time and see if we can maybe second guess a few. We'll see. Okay, let's do the game week preview, John T. Shall we? Let's do the clean sheets first of all.
Okay. Well, you want me to go first then?
Yeah, go on then.
Well, I think that I think there's quite a few this week. It's really tricky. I'm just trying to pick which one. I think
it's tough.
I think that West Brom are going to nick a clean sheet away to Hull.
Hull City, do you?
Yeah. I think they're going to frustrate Hull they're going to ball them into submission.
I mean, Hull have only really got Snodgrass as a threat, haven't they?
Yeah.
So if they can shut that down,
neutralise one player, then that's your lot.
Well, West Brom are incredibly defensive. I did note that they started the game against Burnley going, well, we're on the back foot. I know we're at home to Burnley in front of our own fans, but we're just going to defend. We'll let you have the ball. Yeah. It was incredible.
It's like you can never underestimate Burnley away. Yes, you can.
But you can never underestimate Tony Pulis's option of defense.
That's what I think. In fact, I actually think that could even be 0-0. There's a lot of talk about West Brom, but that could even cancel each other out.
Fair enough. And you fancy Island Risk? I haven't got mine prepared, so take your time.
I was going to say Leicester, but I'm not, because my fancy Island Risk is Negredo back from the.
Oh, really?
One of the reasons is goals imminent. Sigurdsson's in there. Benteke's in there. We know Benteke's like your budget Ibrahimovic. He's always there. Rondon's there. Mata's there. So he's in good company. And Negredo's there. So he's been backing up 10 shots inside the box and 13 goal attempts. And it's Leicester's goalkeeper that I have a problem with, because I don't think he's good enough. So if Schmeichel is not back, I think that is going to be a chance for Negredo. I'm not going to say he's going to get a hat-trick or anything, but I think Negredo is going to score.
Okay, no, fair enough. It's
a risk. It's fancy Island Risk.
Huge risk. Andy, we'll come to you next. Clean sheet first of all.
Yeah, I do think it's tough, like you said. I'll go Arsenal against Bournemouth. I think, I don't like the look of most of them this week, but that one I think could be good for Arsenal defenders.
Yeah.
Oh, and fantasy Island Risk, of course. So I think maybe I'm more hope than think that we're gonna put a few past West Ham. So I need to pick a United player that I can actually get away with. So I'm gonna Herrera. I know he just got an assist. He's not on anyone's radar. No one's picking him up, right? It's got to be a risk.
Can you go for Martial? I mean, Martial would be a great.
If he plays.
I think there's a chance.
Is he not Fantasy Island risk enough?
No.
Well, I just think Ibra is going to come in for sure, and then Rashford might play instead of Martial. I don't know, but Herrera, he's playing almost box to box at the moment, I think, and got the assist from Mata, so yeah, he's going to be my pick.
All right, no, fair enough. Okay, good one. And Granville, yourself?
I'm going to go. I'm not going to go for Liverpool because that looks too obvious, but I'm going to go for Southampton at home to Everton.
Yeah.
I think Southampton they know how to defend. We saw that against Liverpool, though they did have a little bit of luck, but I think they know how to defend. And Everton are on a poor run of form at the minute, and I've really got it in for Everton and Lukaku, so I have to go for Southampton. My fancy Island risk. I'm actually going to go in the United game, but I'm not going to go for United player. I'm going to go for United conceding to the man who's back, Sacco. I believe he's back, isn't he?
Yeah, no, he played at the weekend and he will start. So you fancy United will concede, do you?
Yeah, because they're conceding most games. Against Arsenal, it's just. I know they only conceded that one chance, but it was just on the cards. I could see it happening because they couldn't score that second goal. I could see that it was going to happen, and there's always a conceded goal in them. And I think West Ham, they might even win 4-1, but I have a feeling they'll score.
Okay, well, I'm going to go Watford for both my choices. I think Watford for the clean sheet, home to Stoke. No Joe Allen there. I don't know. I'm still not convinced about Stoke. I mean, they had that run, but they were up against the three bottom clubs, and I think Watford can keep him out there. And I'm going to go Pereira for the risk. He got the goal and the assist. Looks in form, and I think that he might kick on. It might be a little differential. Yeah. I think he's a good one. Okay, let's talk transfers and captains. Granville, you go first because you already told us what you're up to. So do you want to put it out there again?
Done it. Again, it's Kane in for Lukaku and Danny Rose out. Unfortunately, I wanted to keep him for the next game, but he's not playing this week, and I needed to free the funds, and I swapped him out for Jenkinson.
No, that's fair enough. That sounds pretty sound. What do we think about Jenkinson as an option? Do we?
He didn't get forward that much, but he's probably rusty. But I do fancy Arsenal's defence. In these next 2 or 3 games.
Yeah, you got to.
I think they can keep clean sheets, and you never know. Fullback they are quite attacking the fullbacks. And Jenkinson has done it in the past, and he played actually. He was really good for West Ham. Actually, I was really impressed with him. Just unfortunately, he got that injury.
No, I think that's fair enough. And you captain, you're putting out there. You've already said, have you? What you're going to do, captain wise?
I'm going to. I haven't said, but I just look at my team and see who we've got.
It's got to be Liverpool, isn't it?
Yeah, it's going to be. It's Firmino. Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are going to go with Liverpool. I mean, that's certainly the case for me. My transfer, I'm probably going to bank it because I want to save 2 for the Aguero decision, because that will make it easier if I've got 2 and I can get 2 players in, get rid of Aguero, and I convince myself that the second player will make the difference. So I'm probably going to bank it, but it depends whether we hear about Walcott and what happens if he's absent, because Sigurdsson is tempting. So right now, no transfer. Captain will probably be Firmino or Coutinho. I don't know. I don't really know. That's going to go to the wire. I don't know who I fancy there. Both have an upside. I'm probably going to go Firmino because his ownership's less. Quite fancy the risk. John T, yourself, captain and transfer?
Yeah, well, yeah. I want to get rid of Redmond and Lukaku. I will get Sigurdsson in for Redmond, so that leaves me with about 8.5. So another striker for Lukaku, and yeah. So I'm not sure yet. It's between Park, Rondon, Austin, maybe Defoe. But I want to be able to get Kane in, and then also have some more money. I want more money left over as well, so I have to be a bit careful. There's not actually very many good strikers at like over 8 million that aren't really expensive. After that, I'm just out of the price range of Giroud. I was very tempted by Giroud as part of my new tactics. Really, I think he'll come on and score. and I think he'd be really good. But I'm about 0.3 out of that, so that's
not tempted to go Anachibi then do the.
Yeah, I am tempted to buy Anachibi as well. It's just more. That's more if I decide to go 3-5-2, I think. But also, why get Anachibi when you can get perhaps Defoe? So
Well, Maverick, though, if you do that. So.
Well, I don't know. I mean, it just depends because I'm thinking the next week as well. But Sigurdsson's the main draw for that one. I actually, Rondon. I mean, having said that, I think Hull might even keep a clean sheet. Actually, I mean, Rondon, I think is capable of getting me something out of that. Something to make me happy. I think
that would be Maverick enough for me. I think. And Andy, over to you. Your clean sheet. Your clean sheet. Your transfer and your captain.
Yeah, so I have Joe Allen, who was a rubbish pick to start with, and I don't want him.
Got to go with those fixtures, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, I could play Kapui this week, or even right now I've got Chris Brunt on the bench, so I could play him instead. But I think I want to bring Sigurdsson in, and to fund that, I really probably need to get rid of Aguero. So I'm seriously tempted to do that, and I've already got Kane. Costa's still got the yellow card situation. Next two fixtures aren't the best, so I'm actually looking at bringing Ibra back in.
Oh,
I know. Everyone's saying it's the wrong decision, but
no. I mean, there was people on there saying why not Ibra over Kane, and I can see the argument. It's just
I mean the draw. This is why I went. The draw is this week for West Ham. Reed's out. I think West Ham only Hull have conceded more than West Ham. We are in the last 4 game weeks where we got battered by Chelsea and we've played Arsenal. We're kind of one of the top teams for chances created, shots in the box, and I don't know. Our problem is goal conversion. Johnny said it many times before, and you just got to think at some point that's going to start evening out, and perhaps Eva can start putting them away. So I'm even tempted to captain him if I bring him in.
I think you've got to if you bring him in.
Yeah. So, one of the reasons I don't want to choose between Firmino and Coutinho. It's just be a nightmare.
No, it's a horrible one.
I'm basically going to watch. I must admit, Burnley conceding 4 has not helped my decision to get rid of Aguero, like I said. But I'm going to wait for Europe. If there's no major injuries, I think I'm going to do that 4-point hit to get rid of Aguero before Burnley. Just in my head, when I say it out loud, it's just crazy. But I want Ibra and I want Sigurdsson. I don't want Joe Allen. So. And like I said, I can always bring him back. That's 2 moves. It's only going to take 2 to bring Aguero back, so it's not the end of the world. If he batters Burnley, then I'll hold my hands up.
Listen, I did it, didn't I? I got rid of him last year, brought him back. I ended up paying a bit more for him, and I lost him at 20, 30 points. Hopefully, if we are holding hands next week, crying, looking down into the abyss, we won't need to get him back. Hopefully, we'll make the right decision and we'll get profit out of it. Who knows? Join us next week. We'll be doing just that. So, what's that?
What are you doing? Who's your captain?
My captain, I don't know. It's Coutinho or Firmino. I really don't know. So, I mean, I may well go Hazard because I can't make my mind up. It's that painful. It's a horrible decision to do.
It's one of those 3 for me, definitely. Yeah. I think. But I agree.
Let's talk the cup.
Ibrahimovic, I think, is a very good captain this week. Not a very good long-term pick, but I think he's a great captain.
Yeah, well, West Ham without Reed, like Andy said. Let's talk the cup because you said last week we were going to follow Icasius winning, who was last year's winner, of course. We're going to follow him through the cup tournament. He had quite a tough draw. He was up against someone much higher ranked than him. He was up against Sticky Toffee Pudding, was 18,000 in the world. Was Leon Icasius winner was 247,000 in the world, miles away from him. But as the cup often does, brings out the best in him. 66 points, he knocked him out, so he's through. So we're following him from this point on. We're doing the draw tomorrow, John T. I'm out. I lost by 4 points. How did you get on?
I lost by, I think, about 4 or 5 points as well. I was very clear. He was a guy who was in the top 10,000, so I was, keeping pace with.
So that's 2 former winners gone already.
Yeah.
So that's fine. Granville, you didn't even qualify, did you? Is that right? He's obviously gone.
Sorry?
He's obviously gone.
Sorry?
You didn't qualify for the cup first round, did you? Is that correct?
Apparently not. I didn't realise this until I was looking for my name on the the first round.
Control F, couldn't find Granville, that's why. And Andy, you're the only one through then, I hear. Is that right?
Yeah, I absolutely battered my opponent. He's way ahead of me in terms of rank. I think he's top 50k maybe. But I took an 8-point hit. He just made 1 transfer, I think, and I beat him by 21 points. Gamez Rodriguez, it was, I think. So I'll be in the next round. I'm looking forward to
that's good. We got someone on the Scoutcast to follow. That's fine. So I lost to. I'm just going to give him a Buzzed Game. Well done, Buzzed Game, for knocking me out. Good luck in the next round. He was ranked well above me. Well behind me, but he had a good game week. He got 52 points and knocked me out. So well played, and good luck in the next round. But we'll follow Icas's winning. We'll do the draw tomorrow and see who he gets. And so that's it from us. Thank you for joining us. Do join us next week, because it could be a monumental one if two of us or even three of us are getting rid of Aguero. Should be huge. Thanks, and it's good night for me.
Night.
Good night for me.
Good night.
Good night, folks. See you next week.